We've run 2 match play championships, and the fans love match play. Head-to-head matches, 16 MPO, 16 FPO.
Match play is going to be a good format for both of us, I think, just to showcase our skills and be aggressive.
I can hope he plays bad and not feel bad about it.
And vice versa.
Well, we move from the western coast of Norway to just south of the capital city of Oslo to another slice of disc golf heaven, the Krokhol Disc Golf Park, for week 4 of 6 of the inaugural Disc Golf Pro Tour Match Play Series. Going to bring it into the DGN booth. Brian Earhart, Joined here now by my co-host, Hall of Famer Juliana Korver. Juliana, Krokhol, widely talked about. It's ranked currently number 1 on UDisc, number 1 course in the world. Everyone's talking about how these courses are ranked, questioning, should it be number 1? You've been there. Let us know. How is the course?
The easy answer is it's my number 1. It is by far the most beautiful course I have ever been on, and it is such a fun challenge. I love this course. I love watching this course. I love walking this course, and I love playing this course.
Well, you've played your fair share of tournaments. You've won your fair share of tournaments, but you've also played some match play in your time as well. These players going into a big tournament, the Krokhol Open on Friday, what do you think the mindset is going into match play the day before?
I'm sure that the end goal, the big one, is the tournament this weekend. But you wouldn't be a touring pro if competition wasn't in your blood. So the cameras are rolling. It's one-on-one competition, and I'm sure that they're coming to play. Well,
let's take a look at the conditions. Let's take a look at the current conditions of what these players are going to be facing out there at Krokhol. 21 degrees Celsius, 62% humidity, not too bad, and common theme, not too much wind. Same thing as we got last week at the PCS. 2 meters per second wind, just a slight breeze south to southwest.
Now, these are current conditions. I believe that it is supposed to be rather warm this weekend starting today.
Well, I want to talk about wind. Even with a slight breeze, how does that affect the property? Lots of elevation gain and loss here.
It was, I'd say there were maybe at least 5 to 10 miles per hour when I played the course a couple days ago, and it wasn't in my mind that much. There are some holes that are protected, there's some holes that are wide open, but there are enough teeth in this course that the wind was a second class to the difficulties of each hole.
Well, talk to me about the variety of holes out here. Is this a course where power players can shine, or do you have to showcase the whole skill set?
Power is definitely an advantage. Not to say that other skills are not. We have uphill, downhill. There's a lot of side hills where you can have rollaways or fading off over a cliff. We've got tight holes. Everything comes into play, but power definitely helps.
Well, let's take a look at the players in Group A that are going head-to-head today. Not too shabby. Allie Smith, Holland Hanley, Deanne Carey, Ella Hansen. And we remember last time they played, it was at the Kansas City Wide Open. Ella Hansen got the best of Holland Hanley. And Allie Smith, at her home course out there at Bad Rock, got the best of Deanne Carey. And now they go head-to-head today. Group D, interesting thing to note here. Jessica Weiss had to drop the match play today and forfeit to Silva Saarinen due to injury, so we are not going to be seeing that match today. Get well soon, Jessica. We're hoping to see you out here in the coming weeks. But we have Kona Montgomery and Kristen Latt going head-to-head solo on the card today. Talk about kind of the dynamic that both of these players have going head-to-head.
Well, head-to-head, Kona has never finished higher than Kristen in a PDJ-sanctioned event, with Kristen holding a 47-0 record against Kona. But match play is a different beast. We're not going for the lowest score. This is trying to win the most number of holes. So if there's a scenario in which Kona could best Kristen, maybe this is it.
2025 Disc Golf Tour Match Play, presented by Pound, here at Krokhol Disc Golf Course. The first flight, we have 1 match. 2 ladies, first on tee from Pärnu, Estonia, with 1 victory, match play this season. Kristen Latt. Next on tee from California, US. Kuna Star Montgomery.
Well, both your FPO competitors are off, and with that, as they walk down the fairway of one, we're going to throw it to a quick commercial break here on the Disc Golf Network. We're not going to miss a thing on the green. We'll see you soon.
You play disc golf long enough, you can relate to this experience. You adjust your stance, you change your putter, you make all these little tweaks to improve your form. But at the end of the day, sometimes you just have to go back to fundamentals. That's exactly what we did with the Octothorpe. More stable, more refined, more features for the modern disc golfer. This is the Octothorpe reimagined.
The Disc Golf Pro Tour Match Play Championship is presented by Pound Disc Golf, one bag for life.
Welcome back. Kona, Star, Montgomery approaching the green with a forehand on one. This is a gettable green. You got to throw it high. It's a tough play on the wind.
It was a really good angle to see just how steep this mound is. I believe that both of our women are going to be able to see at least the flag, and Kristen's probably far enough that she can see the top of the basket, which helps immensely in calculating how hard you need to throw.
And again, if you're new to match play, if Kristen makes this putt, gives it a run, this is a win of the hole. This is what you're going for. And unlike skins, these are not going to push to the next hole. It's not going to be worth 2 points on the second. This is just simply a split, and they move on to the second.
Not too surprising, couple of pars there. Last year, in 3 rounds, there was only one FPO woman to birdie this hole.
Well, we have the Krokhol Open coming up this weekend, but the weekend after, the players head down to Estonia for the first of 2 back-to-back majors. The European Disc Golf Festival is on DGN free. It's only going to be on round 1. It will not be on YouTube. Rounds 2 through 4 will be streamed on DGN Pro. But grab yourself a DGN free subscription to catch round 1. Scan the QR code and sign up for DGN free to stream round 1 live. No credit card needed. And we're going to fly over hole 2. JK, walk us through it.
This is 144 meters, 472 feet, par 4. There's about 9 meters, 30 feet of elevation gain. There is OB along the entire right side. You throw out of a chute. First shot really doesn't matter as long as you don't go too far. The second shot is the critical one. It is usually blind because of this guarded tree right here, but you can see just how sloped the green is. So if you come in on the high side and maybe play that slide down to the basket, it could be a good way to get a birdie.
Players taking the tee. I want to ask you, the slope on the green is really steep. Now, backhand to forehand, what would you say optimally is the play on this second shot?
I think it depends completely on where you are in the fairway because of that tree dissecting your second shot.
Kristen, middle of the fairway?
I suspect she'll go forehand. That's her dominant approaching style.
And today, we were talking off camera, this is a day for Kona to clutch up. She has absolutely nothing to lose. Like you said, Kona knows she hasn't gotten to beat her yet in a PDGA event, but in match play, being able to take holes on her is very doable.
Kona has excellent distance. Of course, Kristen does as well. But yes, Kona might have a little bit more liberty to just go wild and take some crazy
like aggressive plays to the pin if she needs
Exactly.
to.
I mean, that's what match play should bring out of people, the aggressiveness that maybe is held back in stroke play.
Well, there's so much fear, I feel like, instilled in the players, so much tension on some of these modern courses. That's the point. You want the bravest and the most confident players to win these tournaments. But now, in a situation where you know somebody's going to birdie you, you know somebody's going to save a par, why not try to throw it in the basket? And if you are new to watching the match play format and you've never maybe played before yourself, again, like we were talking, this is not stroke play. Your score does not matter. This is all about beating the player you're against on each hole. Every time you beat a player on a hole, you get a point. Here's some basic match play terms that we're going to be using throughout the day. All square, obviously match is tied. Having the hole, same thing as splitting the hole. They tie. Nothing carries over to the next hole like skins. Dormy, you're going to start to hear that later on in the day. Essentially, that means there are as many holes to play as the player is trailing, so it's a do or die situation. You lose the hole, you tie, the match is over. And that theoretically can be over by hole number 10. Up or down. Being up or down describes how many holes a player leads or trails by in a match. Pretty simple stuff. But again, like we were just talking about, this format brings out the best in a lot of players, and it brings out some competitive edge that they don't get to necessarily bring out when they're playing some of these tougher courses on tour. Kona's second.
There is out of bounds behind the basket, approximately at C1. Looked like she went a little bit long there.
And on this side of the fairway, it almost feels like it wouldn't be that big a deal to play the high side with the backhand, but this is Kristen's bread and butter. And this is way up the fairway. Kristen's drive maybe beat Kona's by 50 feet or so. Watching her really open up at the PCS, she even commented it after the event, how she's been kind of surprising herself with her distance.
Given that this hole is slightly uphill the whole way, that extra distance makes a big difference on how easy the second shot is.
Well, especially, yeah, like we saw with Kona's kind of coming in with such a steep angle on that forehand. The slope does not like that. Being able to come in with something slow, flat, base plastic. And it looks like Kona said, hole is yours. Kristen takes down hole number 2. That's going to be 1-0 Kristen. And if you're in a bit of a gambling mood, let's take a look at the next bets for the FPO division in round 1 of the Krokhol Open. Here's Kristen's daily fantasy position this weekend for the Krokhol Open. Better or worse? 1.5. So is she going to win or is she not going to win? Essentially is what you're betting on. To participate in regulated sports wagering on DGPT events or to play DGPT Fantasy, head on over to nextbets.com/playdgpt. Betting on DGPT events is not available in all states and jurisdictions. You can check out nextbets.com/playdgpt to learn more about gaming options in your area and start playing today. Well, I think as we just look at the position that they put Kristen at, do you win the tournament or do you not win the tournament? Not many players could be on that graphic. Can you just talk to us a little bit about maybe the situation that Kristen's kind of set herself up for, being so dominant? What is it like to be that much at the top?
I mean, clearly, I would have to guess that everybody's goal is to be number one. But once you get there, there's this added pressure from the society as a whole, expecting you to stay there, expecting you to dominate, expecting you to win. And as much as you try to keep that out of your mind as you're playing, it's really hard to do, and it makes it much harder to play your game when that is the case.
Well, we see here on hole 3, that was Kona's chance to get up and down and take a hole on Kristen. She's actually admitted that this short hole, number 3, is one of her least favorite holes ever, not from a design standpoint, but it sounds like the distance is that one little tiny hole in her game.
Kristen has said this.
Yes.
Yes. This is a 69-meter, 226-foot, very straight hole with drop-offs left and right.
Kona's put herself just off the fairway. It's in kind of that tweener range where players don't really have a disc that they can throw hard and confidently. You definitely have to soft it a little bit.
Well, you have to come into the green softly because it's surrounded by rocks, and if you can get to the green, anything on angle is probably going to skip away.
And just like that, again, Kona picked up the last hole. I have a feeling unless she has an open lane to the basket, which she should then try to play for par, it might be another pickup and a win for Kristen. Now, Kristen coming into today has always beaten Kona at PDGA events. She's going in as the favorite to the Krokhol Open, obviously. Evelina, who beat her last week at PCS, is taking the week off to rest. What do you have to say in regards to Kristen's mentality coming into this match play?
Maybe it will be hard for her to actually psych herself up to try to play well. But as again, we mentioned this earlier, I mean, you wouldn't be a pro athlete if you didn't like performing for the crowd. So we've got cameras, and she's going to do her best.
Kona is picking up her disc after kicking again into the woods on 3. And they will move on. Kristen up 2. And now we have our Group A competitors.
We played with Jen enough that we, yeah.
Holland Hanley against Allie Smith. Ella playing against Deanne Carey. And it was a bit of an upset. It's hard to say that Ella would upset anybody, but playing against Holland, who's #1 in tour standings, played fantastic at Bad Rock and got the 3 points. Interesting to see Holland starting this next event with 0 points on the board. Top 2 players in each pool are going to move on to the bracket at the end of the year championship at Hornets Nest Park in Charlotte, North Carolina. 3 points for a win, 1 point for a tie at the end of the day, 0 points obviously for a loss. Point differential, how many strokes and holes that you win by, does matter.
We all have odds, we have evens, and then it's like whoever wins the last one.
Kristen on 4.
This is a significantly downhill shot. Looks like Kristen got caught up in the trees on the left-hand side, which is very easy to do.
Kona with a shot here.
She's pulled that out wide enough. Needs to fade back towards the pin.
Okay, a little bit skip deep, but a possibility for Kona to take a hole.
There's also OB behind that. I think she's okay, but we'll have to wait and see.
And just like that, Kristen Lott up 2 holes on Kona Montgomery. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We will be back on the other side.
Come over here.
like this way. So you're gonna line up straight to the gap also. We'll try again.
Latitude 64's boys down here just finished checking out the telemetry on your map and everything is A-OK.
Hey, Jonathan, catch. Huh?
Jonathan, we're getting an anomalous critical failure on your suit. Could you please confirm status?
Sorry, man.
Low oxygen.
I knew Levi before Pound was a company. He wants it to be perfect. And I think he's the kind of guy that nothing's ever perfect. At this point, I don't think anyone's disputing that it's the best bag ever made. It's the most comfortable bag that I've ever worn. The most tough and well-built and long-lasting thing that I'd ever tried on.
The discovery of electricity. The first flight. Democracy. Splitting the atom. Computers. Modern medicine. Space travel. And, of course, the Royal Line from Latitude 64.
We are outside.
We are together.
Oh, my.
We are healthy.
We are inclusive.
Smile.
Smile. You are playing
This goal.
PDGA Europe.
Smile.
And just like that, all tickets for Disc Golf Pro Tour events are on sale. Scan the code or head to dgpt.com/tickets to check out tickets for events near you, or visit dgpt.com/Europe tickets for our upcoming European events. Tickets are only available while supplies last. Kristen Lott putting on hole 4. That's obviously laying up to the basket, but still a little bit of work left to do. Kona a little bit closer to the basket, putting for birdie. Now back to the tee of 1. And now back to the green of 4. Kona pitching up. That'll be a par for Kona. Kristen has to make her 20-footer in order to save the par. And those are those little moments of clutch putts that maybe Kristen might like as practice going into the tournament this weekend.
Well, we think of Kristen as being a very clutch player, so that's going to be an advantage for her this round.
And we fly back to the tee of 1 for our Group A competitors teeing off.
Good luck.
About that time, huh?
Greg Diaz, Evan Spur of the Disc Golf Pro Tour in the background. Some of the hardest working unsung heroes on the operations crew.
2025 Disc Golf Pro Tour match play presented by Pound here at Krokhol Disc Golf Course. Second flight, 4 ladies, 2 matches. First on tee from Texas, US, Team Disc Golf. For the first time in Norway, Holland Handley. Second player.
There she goes.
First match from Kansas, US, and Thought Space Athletics, Alvin Smith. First player in the second match from Seattle, US, Team Tasmania, Ella Hansen. From North Carolina, US, Team Prodigy, Dean Carey.
Tee shots off on hole number 1 for our Group A competitors, and they will be walking up to their lies in the very challenging hole number 1. As you see, both winners from the Kansas City Wide Open going head-to-head this week. Holland and Deanne both losing their matches, now just trying to get something on the board. Everyone is all square in their respective positions. Up ahead, 5, Kristen. Long par 4, round the corner.
Excellent drive by Kristen. You almost can't get right enough off the tee here.
And now this is a play to try to bite off maybe a little bit more distance.
It's got good turn.
And we are off. And with that, let's fly hole 5. Bring us in, JK.
175 meters, that's 574 feet. It's a par 4, very slight uphill. The first shot up and over a ridge, so the players can't see at all where the landing zone is. There's a tree line on the right, out of bounds line the whole left side. This green, once you get to C1, it actually starts sloping down to the basket, and then it slopes even more drastically behind the basket. And the basket is fairly protected by that outcropping of trees.
Okay. What a shot from Kona Montgomery, parked for birdie.
That was massive. This is a long hole.
And Kristen going flex sidearm. That's got to sit down.
There's a little bit of slope behind there, but she's probably close enough that she's fine.
And we see Holland way down the hill. Her second shot on 1.
Now the camera is above her, so she can't see that much of the basket, but she can probably see the flag, making it very hard to judge how much room you have on top of that mound.
Allie's going to be up there tapping in the par. Now, is it a situation where the tee pad just needs to change angles, the distance needs to change? You said, again, only one player birdieing this one last year.
The top distance throwers have the distance to get to this pin. I'm not sure that they're choosing to do so because the OB on the left is so close.
That's going to be a pitch up there as well for Deanne. And now the lone chance circled 2 look for Ella Hansen. Still kind of has to be a soft bid.
Yeah, I think that was more of a layup.
Yeah, you even look back to the MPO tee pad farther back, but still, you can't throw a pure hyzer into the green. You have to still land it soft if you want to get it to stick. The concept of the green, I do really like. I understand what they're trying to do. Holland has split the hole. And she does. Little defensive putt to start the day.
Not necessarily a bad thing to have a challenging first putt, provided that you make it, of course.
And that's what's different about the match play. You bogey a hole, you can come back. You lose the hole, that's a point for the other player, and you can't get that point back. And we're going to move on to hole number 2 for our A group. This was an old traditional golf course that had to sell off the back 9. Local disc golf clubs trying to find properties to put courses on, and what do you know? Match made in heaven. Now Kristen Lott for birdie. Got it. And an unbelievable backhand to the green from Kona, and camera angle kind of didn't do us justice. I think that hit metal.
I believe I heard that as well, yes.
A group competitors getting ready on the tee of 2. Ella Hansen. Is there any added technicality to this hyzer the players have to throw, or is this a pretty stock shot that they get to throw here?
It's pretty stock, but what I felt on the tee is that there were a couple of limbs coming down, making it hard to get the disc up very high, and because of the elevated structure of this fairway, you really need the height to get much distance. So you could see that Ella did a very good job getting good height out of there, and she was gifted with good distance down the fairway, so she will be in great position. Holland also getting very good height off that tee.
It seems like, yeah, if you take the flippier disc and throw it on that high hyzer, you can get a little bit of push left. And like we said earlier with Kristen's card, this sloped green is really frustrating. You don't want to have to come into that green on a forehand hyzer with a driver. Allie Smith.
It's a good skip. The other advantage of having distance on this drive is that you can see the basket. If you're back 50 feet farther or so, it's completely blind, and so you're guessing on that angle and the distance.
I love that element of course design, where it really rewards you not just with a closer shot to the basket, but actual visibility of where you're throwing. Reminds me of hole 17 back at Pickard Park that we just played at. Kristen now on 6, forehand. Got to control the landing. And that is one shot replay here. What a beautiful sidearm. The way she controls speed and landings on some of these faster drivers is just unbelievable. Okay. And pressure now for Kona Montgomery.
That was a good tree kick. Not only was she going to be long, but it drops off precipitously behind that basket.
And here's a nice pressure putt for Kona. This is to split the hole. Kristen under the basket. Got it. Very well done. And they are going to move on to hole number 7. Match moving along very nicely for them. Kristen up 2. Allie's second into the green. Looked like she was trying to throw some finesse on that, landed softly on the green, didn't quite get the distance right.
It is uphill. You can see they do not have a visual of the basket. They are not far enough up the fairway. Though pin high, she's a good 20 feet below the basket. It is that steep on the left-hand side.
Now Holland's second. This is a luxury to come in with this slot of disc. Got it. And with this being a traditional golf course in a past life, you still get some skippy greens out here. This one obviously has the wood chips that help you stick a little bit, but like we saw on 1 and quite a few other greens out here, you got to watch your disc landing.
Hole 3, which we'll see next, there's a lot of rock around the basket. So that is a very skippy green.
Ella puts it under the pin. That's going to be a birdie drop in. And Deanne has her look from circle 2. Now Kristen on hole 7 going forehand again.
Hole 7's one of the holes that distance actually doesn't give you a huge advantage. It's placement that's more important on this drive. You want to be in the middle of the fairway because it gets much more narrow as you go towards the basket.
Kona going backhand here. And that sits just fine. Angle-wise, is Kona in a decent spot?
Yeah, I believe they're both just fine.
Allie needs this. Not going to happen, but that's a situation that we were just talking about. In match play, you get to run that with no fear. You know you're going to lose the hole if you don't make it. Why not try to put up a highlight? And now this here from Deanne. This is a must make. And that is not going to go. Points for Holland, points for Ella. And just like that, not on every hole in this course, but on this hole in particular, having that power hyzer distance is definitely going to put you in a better spot and give you a reward. And they will move on to the next hole, hole number 3. I will say, this was 16 players that were chosen, and the top 12 All-Stars from each division were chosen. There were some tour director picks. I want to see more. I want to see more players. Let's make it 32 and 32. And I think that's the magical part of match play, is anything can happen. Now Kona's second shot. And like you said, this is tough. Kristen's second.
Beneficial kick back to the middle of the fairway. Both are, well, that's going to be a circle 2 look right on the edge of circle 1. I think Kona's caught up in the woods a little bit. Here we're looking at hole number 3. This is 69 meters, 226 feet. You can see just how rocky this whole fairway is and how much it drops off. In fact, it drops off so much on the left-hand side that they've drawn a line, and if you go below that, you get to take relief without taking a penalty shot because they don't want you walking down that hill or attempting to walk down that hill.
So you take your relief, but you might lose your baby disc if you unfortunately kick left. The rocks and roots kind of make you have to fly the green and land something soft. And this is a skill that I have seen Holland improve tremendously over the past couple of seasons.
Little off on the right-hand side. She should have a putt at it.
That is just devious to have a giant slab of rock right next to the pin where you want to land your disc.
That did look like a nice flight. Nose up a little bit to control the speed.
Allie Smith. Little shrug, no problem. You know, coming down the stretch of the tournament, this little hole right off the bat is definitely going to give players some problems. It's right at that tweener distance where they can't necessarily fully commit to a shot. Well, that was fully committed from Ella, but hits a tree late. She's going to be just outside circle one.
Pretty obstructed as well.
I would say this is definitely a chance for Deanne.
Hitting that gap nicely. Beautifully done.
That's no problem. This is Reedy Creek in Charlotte, North Carolina, right up her alley. Beautiful shot.
Yeah. I didn't. I knew it would happen. Well, yeah.
It actually was in the circle, but it, like from.
And you know what? It was too good. Let's roll back that one-shot replay. What do you like about this?
It looks like she's throwing a little bit slower disc, which I love. Perhaps this is her putter, knowing that she can put a little bit more on it and she's not going to get too far. Just the perfect line right under the pin.
Right between the slab of rock and tree. Just flawless. And now Kona in trouble again on 7. Had to run it. Opportunity for Kristen to take another. And that is hearted from just outside the circle. Smith. About 20 meters from the pin. Well done. You were talking about the nose angle that Holland was able to kind of adjust on this touch shot. And it's funny for a player to have the opposite problem than most. Holland had a problem getting the nose up. A lot of players have a tough time getting the nose down. And yeah, great to see that part of her game evolve.
It's a subtlety that comes later in one's game, usually. In the beginning, working with new players, you really want to emphasize the flatter the better. But yes, it can definitely be a tool to use to keep a disc from flying too far.
Oh, there's the mark. So yeah, I think so.
And this would be a great putt to win the hole. Not to be. Holland still remains up 1 on Allie Smith. Given she makes this putt, it's been kind of a tough season from that short range. Now Ella's birdie. This is a chance. And just like that, Deanne Carey is going to likely drop in the birdie. And they're going to be all square. And that's been the range that's given her some problems, unfortunately. And did not convert the up and down. That's going to be a bogey. This is to win the hole. Holland gets a bit of a gift on that one. Up ahead, Kristen, hole 8.
One of the most difficult holes on the course. Kristen off to the right. Going to be hard to advance very much on the next shot.
Yeah, players just trying to center this one up in the fairway. It's a short par 5, but tricky angles. Okay, out in the middle for Kona.
Oh, Kristen not off to the right as much as we thought. You can see there's a incline on that right-hand side, perhaps pushed her back down. Still not able to have a clean shot.
And this is a big deal shot right here for Kona. Just put it in play.
Very advantageous roll for Kona out into the middle.
Now Kristen from the left side, her third shot.
She's forced to lay up here. There is an out-of-bounds circle, lake, in the middle of the fairway. So if she were to throw hard, that would come into play. So I'm guessing she's going to just lay up in front of that.
Getting a bit of clarification on the lie.
Oh, she's pulling out a driver. Perhaps she is going to try to fly the out-of-bounds lake.
Well, you know, I feel like if I'm Kristen, I may be trying to practice the hard shot in case she needs to go for it in the tournament coming down the stretch.
She is up 3. She has a little bit of room.
Green flag.
She's in front of it. That's an excellent shot.
Now back, hole 4, Deanne Carey, after taking the hole 3 win over Ella.
117 meters downhill.
And here we go, folks. These are the holes that Deanne has to take on Ella. Holes like 2, Ella has the big advantage with the power. But not here.
Ella with the luxury to throw something much slower.
Well, and an open door for Carey yet again. You wonder if Ella feels like she's going to have to run that putt or not.
I think she's going to run it. Is that turning too quickly? No, she gets by the edge. It's still a long putt.
Low driver. In play, short. Long look to take a hole on Holland, who's got her by 2 right now.
Pulling an all-nighter.
Yeah. Oh, let me show you.
We slept in outside the airport. I say slept loosely.
Yes.
Now Kona on 8. Advantageous position.
Basket tucked down in the left in the trees. Catches the corner.
That's still going to be a tricky approach to the green, but Kristen has a little bit farther look. This is her 4th.
Looks like Kristen got fairly close. So talented with that turnover shot and what looks to be a natural backhand right there.
Now Ella. Got it. And I was thinking she was maybe even outside of circle 2 from the angle, but that is a beautiful little step putt from 50. And now she tells Deanne, you got to make this. Allie from C2. Holland, chance to win again. Take a third hole over Smith. Edge of C1. Got it. Other thing that I'm keying in on today is the players that are coming to this Europe stretch in form. Holland obviously wasn't at PCS. This is her first week in Norway, in Europe this season. Looks sharp so far. And just like that, Ella's going to take another hole. That's going to be 2-1. And Deanne picks up. Kona Montgomery lining up her fourth. And it looks like she just wants to play for that par. Kristen nearby. And that's going to be no problem. That's a par on the very tricky green of 8.
Very impressive par after having 2 shots that were in a little bit of trouble.
Now, as she lines up this putt, do you think there's an eagle opportunity on 8?
I didn't before. Now I'm considering it. It really takes a very solid drive to get far down that fairway. Unfortunately, Kona misses low on the downhill putt.
And those are the types of putts that add up over the course of a weekend. Those little tiny situations where you start to feel like, okay, I'm out of position. I'm not where I want to be. I have to make this to save par. And did not convert the up and down. Kristen goes up 4. Holland up 3 on Smith. And Ella up 1 on Deanne Carey. Now breezing through the course, Kristen on hole 9.
85 meters, 279 feet uphill.
Well, what's more to say? A textbook play from Kristen, laser beam driver. How uphill does this play?
It makes it hard. I'd say it plays another 40 feet at least. There is a left gap, though I'm not sure that's what Kona was aiming at. Regardless, she is quite a ways short of the pin.
Holland going forehand on 5. Another hole where just power sidearm really helps out, and Holland's been so good at throwing those power one-angle sidearm. Smith maybe looking to get an advantage here, throwing that turnover backhand. And just no height on it. Now we're watching them play 5. You mentioned on 5 you can't get enough right.
It feels as if you can't get enough right.
And
yeah.
what do you mean by that?
So because, well, first of all, you're throwing up over a ridge, and the fairway turns to the right, and the shoot is pointing you maybe at about 10 o'clock from where the fairway goes. So it's a really hard angle to get the disc to fly all the way to the right-hand side.
Yeah, potentially, the backhand turnover might be beneficial if you can pull it off.
That does potentially bring in the out-of-bounds line on the left if it fades out, or cut rolls like we just saw with Allie's.
And a pretty conservative play.
That's a fine positional shot, but it is really far back in the fairway.
Oh, Kona giving a safe bid. Not going to happen. Kristen with an opportunity to go up yet again to 5. Got it. And head on over to BodaBrothers.com to pick up the #1 selling disc golf board game, Birdie Pro. Fantastic game for the whole family. Back to the lead feature card. Back on hole 5, Deanne Carey going backhand.
Just got to watch out for that OB on the left. Not able to turn that and keep it safe. It's a decent approach. She's about at circle 1.
Now Ella just looking for a conservative play, but I'm guessing with the tournament coming up tomorrow, she's going to play for birdie here. And that's going to be okay. You wonder what the stakes would have to be for Ella to say, okay, I am going to play the layup and I'm going to take the par here. This is the inaugural Match Play series. We've done Match Play championships before, but they've kind of been condensed into one weekend. But I can see this catching on if they continue to refine the format, add some more players. And your DGPT #1 is going to be just on the edge of the circle, putting for birdie. And now we go up ahead to Kristen Lett on 10. Beautiful downhill par 3.
It's a very straight shot. 12 meters of elevation loss. Oh, she's out of bounds on the left.
Opportunity for some momentum from Kona. What's the challenge on this backhand?
Keeping it low enough that you don't fade out. Because there's so much elevation loss, you can throw something slow here.
Just trying to helicopter it into the green. Go in.
I thought it was in.
Oh, it would have been nice, but a circle 1 putt is a decent reward for a shot like that. Deanne's 4th on 5. Needs this to go in.
Not enough turn again.
And that is just going to be a pickup more than likely for Deanne. And another point goes to Ella Hansen. Well, you've played Krokhol. You've played these tournaments out there in Tampere and in Nokia. that they're playing the World Championships at. How does this course and the challenges that it presents set the players up for Worlds and what they're about to play?
They're pretty drastically different courses. Tempura and Nokia, Tempura is very long, very tight, very demanding. This one has a variety of demands, and I feel like Tempura is more one-dimensional, and not in a bad way, but as far as what it's asking you from hole to hole. Nokia is more of a park course. Again, a very different venue than what we're seeing here. I think what for the U.S. players, what this does is it's just resetting their time clock so that they're on the right wavelength, getting a good night's sleep at night. You know, so being here long enough that you are used to all of that is the biggest advantage.
As we see Kristen give the hole to Kona Montgomery. We already saw some posts on social media from young players coming over for the first time. Cadence Burge saying, how do you guys get used to this back and forth, giving some respect to the European players having to do this so much?
And also the fact that it's still basically light, 10:30 at night, so
Yes.
it's hard to know when to go to sleep. It's hard to get your body to think that it's time to go to sleep.
Yeah, I'm currently in Helsinki as we watch Ella lay up, and the city is just alive all night. It is wild to experience, especially if you haven't seen this before. Better have some good blackout curtains or a nice sleep mask. And Allie, unfortunately, not going to capitalize. As we watch the players tap in and move on to the next, we are going to take a quick break here on the Disc Golf Network. We will see you on the other side for some more match play.
Hello, we're Kenna. We're a Dutch growing company. We love plants and we want to tell you some cool things about them. Just like humans, plants can communicate. They can sense when another plant is close. Plants look out for each other too. They warn neighbors about nearby threats by secreting substances. And studies have shown that plants love a good tune. We love and understand plants. Let our passion excite you too.
You play disc golf long enough, you can relate to this experience. You adjust your stance, you change your putter, you make all these little tweaks to improve your form. But at the end of the day, sometimes you just have to go back to fundamentals. That's exactly what we did with the Octothorpe. More stable, more refined, more features for the modern disc golfer. This is the Octothorpe reimagined.
My name's Paul Uliberry, and I use the Uli Signature All-Terrain cart. I use the all-terrain because when I'm on tour, I typically use a lot more discs than a lot of people, and this is the slimmest cart you're gonna get with the most disc capacity. It's easy to navigate around the course, and the height of the seat, perfect for a rest spot. Also easy to transport in your vehicle from spot to spot. If you're like me and you carry a lot of discs, this is the cart for you.
What is the simplest way to improve your disc golf game? The answer, learn from the very best. Paul Uliberry, Simon Lazat, Ezra Aderhold, and Holland Hanley. They're not just players, they are your elite coaches guiding you every step of the way. The Power Disc Golf Academy is the premier online disc golf academy. with over 150 on-demand lessons that are specifically designed to improve your skills right now. So what are you waiting for? Join today at powerdga.com.
Hammes needs to get something going. And in, Adam Hammes! Hole in one! Incredible!
Welcome back. Hole number 11. Kona Montgomery taking the stroke on hole 10. Short par 3. And I'm curious to see... Okay, Kristen's going to throw mid here.
This is an 87-meter hole, 285 feet. Very slight elevation up. No problem for Kristen.
She was mentioning this in a practice round that she played here. Doesn't want to overshape the disc ever. If she can play 20 feet left of the basket and throw one angle, she's going to do that every time. And I think she executed that to perfection. And that is going to go to Kristen. That's going to be 6 holes, 1 match. Slowly coming to a close already for that group. Back to 6. Hansen.
Not quite enough height on that to make it all the way to the pin, but it's doing a good job getting close.
Yeah, I understand the choice to go that slow approach disc and just throw it hard. Touchy backhand.
Not enough turn.
Yeah, Deanne going fairway driver on this turnover shot. That's a tricky green to land the backhand on. Yeah, Holland going forehand with a slow approach disc here.
It's only 77 meters, 253 feet, slightly uphill. So a mid-range is definitely enough disc to get there.
And Allie got to get something going here. Holland's taken the last 5 holes on her. Here's a shot. And now a chance, Holland, to take her 6th hole in a row. Carey pitches up. Allie Smith's second shot. And that's a funny position where you think, oh, she should run this, but then the moment you roll to circle's edge, well, there you go. Domination for Holland Hanley, looking really fantastic early on this match. And a lot of people keying in on Holland and how she's going to fare against the best players in the world, Kristen, Silva, Evelina, when the majors hit. Now Ella to win. Not going to happen. That was a chance to go up 3 on Deanne. She stays 2. That's going to be just fine for Deanne. They're going to split, move on. And we are flying through Krokhol. Nice little preview of the course before the Krokhol Open begins tomorrow. And now up ahead, Holland on 7.
It's a little tight on the right-hand side. That's not ideal. I'm not sure how much those limbs are going to encroach on our next shot.
Allie going to the sidearm on 7.
That's low, so it's back in the fairway. And again, this is a raise, a little bit of an elevation, so she's going to have a hard time seeing the pin, but she's positioned nicely in the middle of the fairway.
And the Michael Johansson turnaround after the throw, no problem. That's in play.
That's the best of both worlds. Well down the fairway, right in the middle.
Now Deanne showing off the backhand turnover. That's a bit tight to the right, correct?
Yes, it is.
And didn't say earlier, but a great putt on the last hole to split the hole from Deanne. She is still the #1 Circle 1X putter on the tour right now, 85.45%. Now Kristen off the tee. In play. This is a long par 5, 267 meters.
Just a stunningly beautiful hole.
And there's that classic line from Kona. You gotta love when the timing's clicking for her and the disc is just ripping out of the hand. Nicely done. Kristen's second. What's she trying to do here?
You're flying over the out-of-bounds water, which is no problem, and she's actually back far enough that those trees are pretty easy to get over the top. Now she needs to just kind of helicopter down a little bit. That's going to be a little bit off to the left-hand side and a little bit short. Kona in a slightly better position. But also fading off left. Those trees right in the middle that you have to fly over the top of kind of force the nose of the disc up, which makes it fade off to the left.
Now back to 7. Allie Smith's second shot. Going forehand again. Caught up on the left side. Deanne slightly uphill footing. And that's going to be okay. Long look. Now Ella hoping to kind of ride that left side. Not too shabby. Edge of circle 1. And if Holland has the hyzer angle, it's actually not a bad position. And she can't get it to hit the brakes.
It drops off pretty fast behind the basket, so that's going to be a significantly uphill putt.
Just flying over some beautiful countryside. Gorgeous birch trees, Norway spruces. When you first came over to Europe to play disc golf, what was the feeling for you? Were you impressed? Were you excited? What was it?
Well, I had been here quite a few times before for other disc sports, for overalls, for freestyle. So I was well aware of the beauty that was about to hit me. But I hadn't played, well, actually, no, that's not true. I had played in Norway before, just not this particular course.
Long look for birdie for Deanne Carey. Just on the left side. It's been a wonderful year from Circle 1. Circle 2, only about 10.59% for Deanne. It's been kind of an average year from that range, but for a large part of the season, she was over 90% from inside the circle. Now Ella to win the hole. Another putt low. That is normally the miss for Ella. Ella, on the other hand, 71%, 24th on tour from C1. Holland to win. And that's not going to go. And some pickups on the green. And they will move on to hole number 8. Challenging par 5. And a little basketball putt to split the hole. Up ahead, Kona's card. Third shot on 12. Running the pin a little bit. Nice little touch in the forehand. Now Kristen's third. And they will likely split hole 12. And just before I say that, we got a little bit of room left. Kona makes good. And it seems like Kona has set herself up multiple times to get up and down and take the hole from Kristen. It's that short game that's been getting her, those little shots to put her in position. A couple of dominant matches so far. Kristen up 5, Holland up 5, Ella up 2. Now, I mentioned, you know, my personal desire, my selfish desire to see the field kind of expand on both sides and have this maybe be a regular thing at a lot of events. What are your thoughts on these types of exhibitions on the Disc Golf Pro Tour?
Well, I think the more disc golf we can get out to the masses, the better. So I'm never going to say that it's not a good thing to put our number 1 players out in front of the audience. So I think this is great. It's a great way to get spectators another opportunity to come and see their favorite players on the course.
Ella now on 8. That is a Christmas goose of a kick back to the middle. How conservative can a player get on this tee shot? Can they throw a putter and just try to stripe it straight?
I think you need more than a putter. It's a little bit too far for that.
Only 219 meters, par 5.
So even that looked so good for 80% of the flight, and then just that little fade at the end puts her in a world of hurt down on the left-hand side.
Yeah, and that little berm kind of on the right side, it makes almost the forehand feel kind of appealing.
I'll take your word for it.
Well, I don't think I'd be throwing a righty sidearm on this one either. But it just seems like such a safer side of the fairway to land on. We saw what happened to Kristen when she leaked over there, and now Holland. Low backhand from Smith.
That's what I like.
Yeah.
Throwing something that's understable enough that it's going to flip up to flat and not fade off left.
And she's going to be right down the center. And Allie has quite a bit of work to do. She is in a better spot in the fairway than Holland. There's still a chance. Up ahead, now Kristen.
Throwing over water most of the hole. The question is, after it gets that skip, oh, it does stay on the, you can see the slope there, and it's very easy for the disc to skip forward and then roll back down into the water.
Now backhand, I'm guessing, trying to play on the high side of the green. Little quick at the top there for Kona. Early miss. Still a chance to get up and down. Now Ella, her second.
Flying the OB in the middle of the fairway easily, but finding the out of bounds on the right-hand side.
That just goes to show you the shot that they want you to try to throw on that second. But did she find the OB? It doesn't look like it.
According to our caddy book, the OB doesn't extend that far, but I thought that I saw on the video a line of string. We'll see. Maybe she is fine up there.
Now Allie looking to go sidearm, likely to clear kind of that fake OB pond in the middle. I do not think that she made it. Angle from the camera does not appear good for Allie Smith, unfortunately. I will say that disc coming out of her hand looked fantastic. We don't talk about Allie Smith in regards to, you know, top sidearm players, but the release is really smooth.
I actually do think of her as a very solid sidearm player. She's got both tools. Yeah, both spins.
Yeah, I think the shot that sticks out in my brain the most is that backhand flip up that she threw at Worlds. The ace, just
the ace
unbelievable.
Running it down, that was a great memory.
Yeah, you know, you talk about, you know, top sidearm players in FPO. You talk Ella, you think about Holland or Kristen. But Allie Smith, I mean, that shot was really, really clean. Now similar stretch out, kind of against the lie. Oh, yeah. Really nice shot from Holland.
You have a swing enough to get that right corner, like right of the.
Very challenging angle to try to fly that out of bounds. Guessing this is going to be a layup.
Okay.
Layup complete for Deanne. Does she have the range to get up and down from there?
I'm not sure.
Kona's second on the par 3, and that gets a bit of a roll, but she's going to have a nice uphill look to save par. Kristen putting for birdie on the same hole.
I believe Kona went in the water on her first shot. So I don't think that is for par.
I see. Yep, the pickup. Correct. You are correct there. And the dominance from Kristen continues.
Yeah. No, I put the rest of
And that is going to be it. The match already complete. Kristen has taken another 3 points.
Because I haven't played the last hole and
Puts herself very commandingly at the top of her pool.
It says like there's a score conflict. Should I still
And Kristen will be finishing out her regular season in the match play at the Green Mountain Championship. Deanne's third down the hill.
That's a solid effort. She's maybe circle 2. Of course, there are a lot of trees between her and the basket, so I doubt she's going to have a very easy look at it. But distance-wise, good effort.
Husband AJ on the bag. Couple of long-time touring professional players.
Right.
Just serenity out here in Norway. For a long time, from what I remember, it was Sweden that was kind of at the top of the disc golf world for a bit, and then Finland comes along. Norway now starting to become a powerhouse. International growth in our sport is just unbelievable if we really zoom out to look at it. Allie Smith now, she was out of bounds. Decent. And we speak about the 3 countries, Norway, Sweden, and Finland, but now with the World Games coming up, 16 countries being represented with top talent, alt shot doubles being played, mixed gender. Just incredible to see the growth on both sides of the game from a division standpoint, but also from just international representation as well.
Well, and you'll get a first-hand look at how Asia is growing in the disc golf world. I hear it's big.
Ella's third. Almost a casual dunk in the basket, but nicely hits a root and sits still. That's an opportunity to take another win.
And she was clearly safe there. She had flown well past the out-of-bounds line on the good side. It was just confusing from the angle initially.
Well, that's going to be another chance at birdie. All smiles from Kristen Lett after a fantastic performance. +9. Getting the job done. And that's going to be your standing so far. Silva Saarinen obviously not competing this week. After the forfeit by Jessica Weiss, she automatically gets those points. And man, the power sidearm from Holland and Ella just gets you way up the fairway. Big advantage on this third shot into the green. Almost makes you wonder if they should add the OB down that right side to challenge the players throwing those sidearms.
We'll probably see that next year.
Yeah, it might be a little bit too devious. But I really do like just the strategy off the tee of saying, hey, you have to throw pretty much a backhand here to stripe it down the fairway, but don't fade out too much or you're going to find yourself in trouble.
It's a very specific ask.
Yes. And I questioned the thought of the forehand, but then we have players like Holland and Ella saying, no, cannot do that. And this could put some pressure on Ella. And that is not going to happen. Ella now putting for birdie, 22 feet. Chance to go up 3. This is for par. Holland's putting for birdie from 16. Just might be looking for some putting practice here.
Oh, so strong. That's right.
Holland now able to pick up there. Allie going to be tapping in the bogey. And now Holland goes up 6. Her match also slowly dwindling down. Just a tiny bit of breeze on the flag. A beautiful day out there. And Deanne is going to be lining up this putt. For par. And that is going to do it. Ella able to pick up. And that will put her up 3 over Deanne Carey. And that's going to do it. Textbook birdie there. And they are, again, cruising through the course. They head to hole number 9 already. Now, when you came to Europe to play disc golf for the first time to compete, what was your adjustment like? How long did it take for you to kind of adjust to the time zone change, different languages, foods, that kind of stuff?
Well, as far as the languages, you're in such a sheltered bubble that it's not really mandatory that you have to go outside of English very often. And also don't have the liberty of being here for weeks in advance like some of these players do before the more critical events like Worlds and the festival. So you just live with what you have, you know, a couple of days and you play tired, you play fatigued.
Flyover here of hole number 9 brought to you by Zenni Eyewear for everyone. Talk about hole 9, short par 3 that they have to play here.
85 meters, 279 feet, throwing at a chute up a hill through a gate and then continuing up the hill. Kristen made it look easy with a park job.
Just goes to show you they're throwing drivers here. This is a short hole, but the uphill adds that little bit of challenge. And that's a great shot from Holland. Similar to kind of what I was talking about with Kristen, saying that you never really want to overshape the disc at the top level. Little bit of flip is great. Just saw the same thing from Holland. Allie not getting the angle right. It's just so much higher than I feel like the camera gives off. Okay.
As you can see, the trees on the right-hand side are tiny and plentiful.
And you see the drop-off down there on the right. Deanne might just need to stick the fairway to get back in the mix. Even being on the right side of the fairway where Ella is, I have a feeling might be okay. How big of a drop-off down that right side is there?
Well, it's not. It's a slow, well, not slow. It's a pretty fast incline. It doesn't just drop right off. It just keeps sliding down to the right. The question is, how far does the disc get into those trees? Because if you're too far in there, then you can't find a line back out.
Almost would be better if she kicked all the way through. Caddy book does not show any OB, and there she is on the right side. Sometimes it's better to miss big than it is to miss small.
Interesting. She's got to be at least 20 feet below the pin. Maybe more.
This will give us a good view of the spike hyzer she's going to have to throw. Did not get the height. That's going to be off in the woods right of the pin, circle 2. A possible chance to save par, and Deanne, unfortunately, not in a good spot. Both players got a little bit of work left to do. I'm not going to give Ella the perfect up and down for bogey. Depends on what kind of obstruction she has. Now Allie, second shot. Meanwhile, Holland just sitting in a lawn chair somewhere waiting for everybody to finish up. All smiles from Allie Smith. More American players than ever before getting to come over, ramping up for the 2 PDGA majors coming up after the Krokhol Open. One of the most anticipated stretches of disc golf that we've seen in quite some time. Deanne, pitch up. That's going to be a 4. And we will just have to see how far Ella got up there.
I'm going to be very surprised if she has a putt. I think she's in the middle of those trees, going to be very obstructed. Just going to have to punch out.
And that will do it for Ella and Deanne. They're going to push the hole. And Holland with a chance to take another one. This could be 7. And these are those putts that a champion like Holland knows you got to get. You got to stack these over the course of a weekend. And her clutch putting has gotten so much better over the years. This is why she sits atop the leaderboard on the Disc Golf Pro Tour this year. And got to give a huge shout out. You know, a tournament she didn't win, the Des Moines Challenge. Huge shout out to Cadence Burge for coming up there in the clutch, forcing Holland to get up and down on 18. The growth of FPO started, you know, a long time ago, but now look where we are now. We just saw 13-year-old Julia Forsch from Sweden get her Throw Pink ticket. The future is bright.
It's very exciting. Here we are looking at hole 10, 105 meters, 344 feet, downhill significantly, 12 meters of elevation loss, that's 39 feet. The trick here is to keep it in bounds, keep it straight, throw something slow enough that it doesn't go too far past, keep it low enough that it doesn't fade out left.
And luckily you have some feather banners in the background to get a little bit of a wind read. The wind is just gently blowing out there today. If it does pick up to that 10-15 mile an hour mark, does the course get significantly tougher?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Holland Hanley up 7 on Allie Smith. Ella Hansen up 3 now on Deanne Carey. Just halfway through the course. And Allie has got to get something going right away if she wants the match to last. Going forehand. Another blessing from the disc golf gods. Hits that tree out of bounds, pushes back in play. But now a chance. Deanne with the birdie here can pull within 2. And the answer is no. Wow. Sneaks through that left side. Puts herself to circle's edge yet again. That's a birdie look for Holland Handley. Barely any wind out there. And that's going to be out of bounds for Allie Smith. Likely another point for Handley. She's only missed 2 holes so far. Dominant showing today. And she's got to look for another birdie. And even if we're not playing match play, the scores that she's putting up really impressive.
Conditions are perfect today.
Taking a look at Ella sneaking through. Got to celebrate a good kick. A little bit of love. And no one really nailing the shot just right. Holland just needs to go a little flatter on that. Deanne's third. Long putt again. Maybe just outside circle one from there. The thing that I've noticed about this course, and as we watch Allie line up her third shot after going OB, you see every speed of disc being represented out here, and I really appreciate that. Sometimes you see players over and over again throwing the same disc out of their bag.
That's a very good point, and it makes it so much more interesting to the players to be able to think about what they need to do with the different discs instead of continuing to go back to Old Steady.
And with the best players in the world, if you, the course designer, design a course where they can do that, they're going to do it. They're going to make it as simple as they possibly can, but it's these little curveballs, these whole designs where there's no stock shots allowed. That's when things start to get interesting for the professional players. Is that somewhat accurate?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that.
Holland from the fairway. Ella from the fairway. Still a little bit of work left there.
Though Ella's lane 2 and Deanne's lane 3.
Correct. Holland yet again putting herself within birdie range. And those shots a little bit closer to the basket than maybe I was giving them credit. Inside circle one. Little bit weak on that one. Nope.
Didn't need it though. She can still take par and take the hole.
Just going out there doing the job. That's going to be the 8th hole one for Handley. And last year on this course, 3 rounds, Kristen wins at -8 total. Course still playing very challenging, especially like you said when the winds pick up and the players have to throw off elevation.
Pretty sure we had rain last year. I don't think conditions were as scoreable as we're seeing right now.
Similar to the PCS last year as well. I think overall scores were completely demolished this year by Evelina, Kristen, despite the course relatively being unchanged. And that's also a tough thing for course designers. You can design a course that if it was inside would be really challenging, but then when wind picks up, sometimes there's a spot in the course where the wind's always consistently blowing a certain way. Your theory might not end up working well in practice, but that's the challenge that they all face. Now at this point, Allie Smith needs to win every hole moving forward if she wants to tie this match, which means she is Dormy. Just a really dominant performance from Handley. Here we go, hole number 11.
Hole number 11, 285 feet. That's 87 meters. Throwing out a gap. Basket is straight ahead with a slight uphill grade. Fairway is lined with trees both right and left. Right side is really bad as the trees are very, very small. Left side, still bad, but not quite as bad. Bigger trees, you can find a way through them usually.
Taking another look at the scores here. Kristen Lott, beautiful performance, up 6, takes it down over Kona Montgomery. Holland Hanley laying the hammer down on Allie Smith today. She's up 8 through 10 holes. Ella Hansen up 4 on Deanne Carey. Both of these matches slowly coming to a close. This is potentially their last hole. Allie has to win this.
Very good shot with an even better kick at the end. Even if she hadn't got the kick, I think she would have been in good shape for a potential birdie.
Allie lining it up. Just wants to put a little pressure on Holland.
Hugging that right side a little too much. As you can see, it drops off on the right-hand side pretty significantly.
Hansen. Decent shot down the right side. It's going to be a long look. Now, Deanne still has a little bit of life left. She's got to pick up some wins soon. And that is how you're going to do it. Beautiful shot. She's thrown that fairway driver multiple times today, and it seems like she's been kind of fighting with it over how stable she thinks it is or how stable it wants to be. But that one was beautiful.
He's doing so good at home. Oh, his ear isn't infected anymore. That's good. He had such a big knot in his hair, though, when we got home. It was like... And Allie, my dad, like, did you not notice that? He's like, oh yeah, but I figured you guys were coming home soon. He's taking care of it. He's like, yeah, he'll be back in 3 weeks. He'll be fine. 3 weeks? He was fine. Yeah. But then he has to sit there with it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, he loves getting it rushed out, though. Such a proper play.
All good fun at the end of the day.
Like gravity takes it that way.
Sometimes you just have to tip your cap to the person you're playing against and say, you are pretty good.
It pushed forward, so I'm assuming we're probably the same in distance, just you're here. And I'll go. Yeah.
So far in 2025, Holland's average finish is 2.5. She has 4 wins, 9 podiums, 13 top 10s.
We were just talking about this off camera, how hard it is to be consistent at a sport like disc golf. A lot of players have the skill to execute the shots to do well one weekend, but to do it across multiple seasons is just, it's a special thing. Hansen for birdie. We hear so many players talk about flow and rhythm and presence. A sport where even a degree of your angle being off can completely result in a different shot or a different lie or a penalty stroke. To keep the same mindset, to keep the rhythm, to keep the confidence. It's what we all kind of fight for each and every weekend. We talked about Kristen. It's just a battle that she's been fighting ever since she kind of broke on the scene, and just really impressive what she's been able to pull off. Almost pulls this off. Allie Smith under the basket for par, almost cards a sweet birdie to win.
Trying to make it for fun.
And Deanne gets her second win. That's a birdie. That's going to bring her within 3 of Ella Hansen. There is still hope left. And that is going to do it for Holland and Allie's match. Fist bump the disc, fist bump the fist.
Thanks for playing, Allie.
Of course, thank you. Great time.
There you go. Put a little pressure on myself to complete.
I know. I was like, oh, I was like, well, he said we push. I still lose. I'm gonna.
I know.
I'm
I'm
gonna
like,
make this.
The smart thing is to lay that up, but I was like, I'm gonna try.
Yeah. She doesn't ever give me.
Yeah, no. I was like, oh wow, I don't normally miss that.
And that point differential is huge for Holland, especially after losing that first match in Kansas City against Ella Hansen. She now picks up the first win on the circuit.
Yeah.
Straight. Yeah.
I think.
And her next match will be at the Green Mountain Championships.
Might want to go play 18. Okay.
Yeah. And they just want us to par out.
Yeah. Yeah. Wonder what the best way. I'll just wait for you. I have no idea.
We are going to take a quick commercial break here on the Disc Golf Network. We will see you on the other side. One more match to finish.
It's a long walk, like kind of long walk. Going this way.
I knew Levi before Pound was a company. He wants it to be perfect. And I think he's the kind of guy that nothing's ever perfect. At this point, I don't think anyone's disputing that it's the best bag ever made. It's the most comfortable bag that I've ever worn. Most tough and well-built and long-lasting thing that I'd ever tried on.
Let's send these boys back to the lobby. Get on. Oh, Grandma's got a hot kettle for that tea bag.
How did you get so much energy from a candy?
One Shot is no ordinary candy. It only has 4 grams of sugar, and the nootropics help prevent jitters and crash.
Grandma, do you think I could try one of those One Shot energy chews?
Oh, sure, honey. But if you come for the queen, you better come correct, Sprout. I'm the OG. Got it?
Got it.
Level up your energy with One Shot. Grab yours at oneshotenergy.com today.
Experience is the greatest teacher, and I'm so blessed after 40 years and 150 so courses, every project I'm still learning. I think when you get down to it, a lot of it is about vision. There's the vision for individual holes. There's the vision for the property and what it can become as a course and what it can become as a venue. And then there's the vision for what disc golf can become.
If you design, if you test, if you manufacture, there is only one technology partner you need. TriMet Group is the leading provider of design, engineering, and manufacturing solutions for thousands of companies across North America and Europe. Innovation starts here. TriMetGroup.com.
And welcome back to week 4 of 6 of the 2025 DGPT Match Play Series. One more match today here at Krokhol to finish. Kristen Latt, Holland Handley picking up wins in dominant fashion, but now Deanne Carey just picked up her point to get within 3 of Ella Hansen. 876-foot par 5.
For me, this is the signature hole of the course. Just absolutely beautiful. Downhill lane short of an out of bounds. Here we see it, 876, 267 meters downhill for the first shot. And if you lay up a little bit shorter, then you perhaps have a better angle over the trees that are in the front of this out of bounds pond area. The second shot, obviously playing over that pond, the basket, then the elevation starts to rise a little bit more on the other side towards the basket. You can see that it falls off on the right a bit and on the left a bit, even more behind the pin.
That whole flyover brought to you by Zenni, eyewear for everyone. And JK, I'm a sucker for a funneling tree line. I love that. Yes, you can throw far, but you can push yourself on the left side of the fairway, and that's not necessarily going to give you a good look on the second.
There are a few holes out here that do just that.
Now Deanne carries second.
That's over it all day.
Beautiful right drifting shot. And she's finding a bit of fire. Ella up 3 right now. Just needs it to sit down.
She should have an angle from there. Should be no problem.
Yeah, it seems like just the opening tee shot, there's a lot of green space to land in, but to put yourself in a good spot to get up and down, it really matters where you push it on the fairway. Ella currently having a solid year when it comes to throwing the disc. It's been a decent year from Circle 2. Less than stellar for her standards in Circle 1, but in all the driving categories, she's top 10. 6th Circle 2 in regulation, 6th Circle 1 in regulation, 9th in park jobs, 6th in fairway hits. That kind of stuff's always going to keep you in the mix, but the moment she has that top 5 putting weekend, it's Ella towards the top. Nicely done there by Deanne. Ella now has to stick it close. Okay. Just like that. She has to throw this in.
Interesting. It felt like there was enough room to swing a hyzer out around that corner.
Yeah, that's going to be one of those mistakes that if she does end up losing this match, she's going to go to bed and say, why did I do that? And Deanne Carey is going to take this hole. Could the wheels be falling off for Ella Hansen? We have ourselves a battle now, moving into hole 13.
The last event that Deanne and Ella played together was the Women's National Championships a few weeks ago. And interestingly enough, they finished 15th and 16th. Ella with the 15th finish. 2 strokes apart.
Ella's going to grab the par, and Deanne now with a short tap in to grab the birdie. And while they walk to the next hole, we are going to take a quick commercial break here on DGN. We'll see you soon.
You play disc golf long enough, you can relate to this experience. You adjust your stance, you change your putter, you make all these little tweaks to improve your form. But at the end of the day, sometimes you just have to go back to fundamentals. That's exactly what we did with the Octothorpe. More stable, more refined, more features for the modern disc golfer. This is the Octothorpe reimagined.
Come over here, like this way. So you're gonna line up straight to the gap also. We'll try again.
Boys down here just finished checking out the telemetry in your hat and everything is A-OK.
Hey, Jonathan, catch. Huh?
Jonathan, we're getting an anomalous critical failure on your suit. Could you please confirm status?
Sorry, man.
Low oxygen.
I knew Levi before Pound was a company. He wants it to be perfect. And I think he's the kind of guy that nothing's ever perfect. At this point, I don't think anyone's disputing that it's the best bag ever made. It's the most comfortable bag that I've ever worn. The most tough and well-built and long-lasting thing that I'd ever tried on.
The discovery of electricity. The first flight. Democracy. Splitting the atom. Computers. Modern medicine. Space travel. And, of course, the Royal Line from Latitude 64.
We are outside.
We are together. Oh my!
We are healthy.
We are inclusive.
Smile.
Smile. You are playing
Disc golf.
PDGA Europe.
Smile.
Hello, we're Kenna. We're a Dutch growing company. We love plants and we want to tell you some cool things about them. Just like humans, plants can communicate. They can sense when another plant is close. Plants look out for each other too. They warn neighbors about nearby threats by secreting substances. And studies have shown that plants love a good tune. We love and understand plants. Let our passion excite you too.
Welcome back to Disc Golf Network's coverage of the 2025 Disc Golf Pro Tour Match Play Series. It's week 4 of 6, and we have one more match remaining, and there is hope. Deanne Carey has won the last 2 holes over Ella Hansen. She's now within 2.
Deanne with the ultra-safe play. But her approach is going to be pretty challenging.
OB water all down that left side. Deanne playing to the high side, but way short. Now Ella. Well, that's not going to be it. That's not going to be a look for birdie.
Question is, can Deanne get her approach close enough that she can take par? The basket is sitting right on the edge of a very steep drop-off, both to the left and behind the pin.
Ella looks to be inside circle 2. So my question to you, JK, was that shot from Deanne, was it an intentional layup to the high side? It was just a pull?
I think she was, I think she's trying to play high side, but not nearly that quickly.
Not this high.
Yeah.
And now she's faced with that touchy distance. You can't jump putt it. Forehand and backhand both feels tricky. That is clutch factor.
Exceptionally done.
And now Ella gets to make a choice. Love watching a player go to this full throw from maybe about 200 feet, maybe just under. Just pop that nose up nicely.
Trusting that you're going to catch ground before you get to the pin, because if you don't, that disc is gone.
Well, very well done from Deanne, and now Ella gets to sit there. It says 65 feet. All right, all right. The smart move, they'll both take par. Ella in the driver's seat, holes dwindling. They move to hole 13, or sorry, 14. 106 meter par 4.
Another beautiful hole, hole 14, throwing over water again.
And this course just sits about a half hour south of the capital city of Oslo. And it's this beautiful out here in nature. Walk us through 14.
Well, you can see that I doubt the players are going to try to go through those trees, though extra credit if they do. Most likely we'll be playing out to the left. Maybe we'll see Deanne with a turnover backhand, and I suspect Ella with a power forehand. This one's a little bit far because you have to fly that left side and bring it back in. It plays a little bit farther than the 348 feet mentioned.
Okay. Deanne on the green, putting for birdie. And if Ella goes with that sidearm, there's that slope really quick after the basket. She's got to land left side of the green. Just a bullet.
Looks like it stayed inside of circle one.
And that was a 50-50 on sticking to rolling. And yes, she has that birdie look. Let's see another look at this shot. If she's trying to go that low off the tee, the patch that she has to hit is pretty specific. This is a higher percentage play.
Tell you, those are both extremely good shots on this hole.
Yeah, with that front slope too, Deanne can even maybe get a little reverse skip if she hits the right spot. Sad nobody went through the double mando, but maybe next year, like you said, we add some OB on some holes. We put double mando here.
If you happen to find the water on your drive, then you are forced to go through those trees, because that is where the drop zone is located.
Insult to injury, no problem. And this beautiful look at hole number 14 brought to you by Flight Factory Disc. Scan the QR code and head on over to flightfactorydisc.com to check out all of their merch, discs, apparel. And you see a lot of these old golf greens that have since been allowed to grow at least a little bit, you kind of see the damage that traditional golf has on the grass when they cut it that short.
Well, it's interesting from the drone view, we can see those scars, but when you're playing the course, they really aren't that noticeable.
Deanne for birdie. And here we go. Pressure on Ella Hansen. A late charge from Carey. Best Circle 1 putter on tour. Shows exactly why. And this is to have the hole. Job done. And they move on to hole number 15. Another short commercial break here on the Disc Golf Network as they make their way to 15, and we will see you in just a bit.
You play disc golf long enough, you can relate to this experience. You adjust your stance, you change your putter, you make all of these little tweaks to improve your form. But at the end of the day, sometimes you just have to go back to fundamentals. That's exactly what we did with the Octothorpe. More stable, more refined, more features for the modern disc golfer. This is the Octothorpe reimagined.
My name's Paul Uliberry, and I use the Uli Signature All-Terrain cart. I use the All-Terrain because when I'm on tour, I typically use a lot more discs than a lot of people, and this is the slimmest cart you're gonna get with the most disc capacity. It's easy to navigate around the course, and the height of the seat, perfect for rest spot. Also easy to transport in your vehicle from spot to spot. If you're like me and you carry a lot of discs, this is the cart for you.
What is the simplest way to improve your disc golf game? The answer, learn from the very best. Paul Uliberry, Simon Lizotte, Ezra Aderhold, and Holland Hanley. They're not just players, they are your elite coaches guiding you every step of the way. The Power Disc Golf Academy is the premier online disc golf academy with over 150 on-demand lessons that are specifically designed to improve your skills right now. So what are you waiting for? Join today at powerdga.com.
Welcome back. Our final match of Match Play Week 4. Headed to hole number 15. Ella Hansen currently up 2 on Deanne Carey. Deanne catching a little bit of fire late. What are we expecting to see on hole number 15?
Hole number 15, it's another par 5. 231 meters, 757 feet. About 10 feet of elevation gain. Fairway slopes up slightly along with a left to right downward tilt. I think it's always interesting when you have multiple angles at play.
Well, we're keeping it here on this screen because of a long walk that the players had to make to get to hole 15, this final stretch of the course, but here we are. Okay, left side.
That's all you need to do. Just keep it in bounds for the first one.
Beautifully built up tee pad here. Other thing that I love about this course is to protect certain trees, sometimes they'll build walls or barriers with dead trees instead of wrapping them in artificial materials, which I really love. Hansen. Smash. Huge shot.
Big advantage for Ella with the second shot being that far down the fairway.
What does that allow her to do?
Well, I mean, this is a par 5. It's not like she's going to be able to put this under the pin, but she'll be able to put herself far enough up there that her third shot should be much easier. Probably with a slower disc, and Deanne's going to have to throw a couple of drivers.
That makes sense. And this flyover brought to you again by Zenni Eyewear for everyone. I mean, look at these course caddy book maps. Just devious.
Now, on the right-hand side, the caddy book image, it looks super, super narrow. When you're playing it, it actually doesn't feel that daunting because this is such a long hole. It makes it look smaller in the image.
There's all sorts of talk about the artificial OB, the white stake OB all over the place on the tour. Out here at this course, do you feel like it does a good job of framing up some of the holes?
I do, yeah. And there are some places where it is just too treacherous to go retrieve a disc or to go play from that position.
Yeah, flow of play is a big deal when it comes to where out of bounds is placed. Deanne second, round the corner. Nice conservative shot. But now we go to where Ella is, and Ella is past that barricade.
So one advantage that Ella has is that she's going to have a flatter footing. Deanne had a fairly uphill run up there, taking a lot of power away. And where Ella is, it's still slightly uphill, but not to the extent that it was with Deanne's run up.
Yeah, Ella right in front of that barricade. Gotta watch the nose angle on this flick. She's still throwing a little bit uphill. Okay. And the nose angle popped up, and the stall carries her out of bounds right. It is getting interesting, folks. Let's take a look at Deanne's shot from the drone just to show her spot on the fairway. I really like this. She kept it low. Hyzers out to the bubble spot in the out of bounds.
Was never in danger.
Now Ella has that problem of stalling the forehands out, and
so because of her distance down the fairway, where this lands, it's in the skinniest part, where it pinched in the pinch point. So making it harder for her to stay in bounds, and she does not.
So she's going to get up and down to have to save par. Deanne's still pretty far back in the fairway, and it looks like she... Okay, let's see if she runs the green or if she tries to play it safe. This is her third. Okay. So she's telling Ella, please, go ahead, be my guest, run the green.
By the way, behind the green, once again, it starts sloping down very steeply.
We saw some shaky low putts from Ella today. Let's see if this pressure to get up and down forces another mistake. Deanne playing nice and simple. She's currently up 2 with 4 to play. And that's the same miss. It's kind of that shakiness, not wanting to get the disc over on that little bit of turn to stall it out. And now she's got a 30-footer. Another look at Deanne's.
Keeping it very low, trying to make sure that the out of bounds is not in play.
I do like that pinch point up there towards the front that says, okay, you can play conservative, but we'd rather you run the green. So still a very skilled shot from Deanne to land it safe. And then, yeah, Ella making herself sweat on this putt. This is to split the hole. Deanne can just get up and down here. Okay. Just outside bullseye. And at this point, circle one is pretty money in the bank for Deanne Carey, especially with no wind. Ella misses this. The final 3 holes are about to get very interesting. Got it. She got it. Now this is a completely different dynamic. Now the pressure is on Deanne. Otherwise, Ella goes up 3 with 3 to play. A dormy situation presents itself. And it's do or die in the next hole. Okay. Now, we're finishing up the match play today. This is our side event leading up to a huge tournament here. Best in the world gathering at Krokhol for the Krokhol Open. Let's take a look at some broadcast times here for you. Make sure to tune in, folks. This already, JK's told you, this is her number 1. Multiple players in the MPO division saying, this is my number 1. FPO players saying the same thing. Tune in to watch some world-class disc golf right here on the Disc Golf Network. Clutch putt from Ella Hansen changes the dynamic completely. Deanne Carey now on the tee of 16. Down 2 with 3 to play. And that's not going to be it. That's got to check up. And Deanne Carey is out of bounds. And this could be it if Deanne cannot get up and down and tie Ella Hansen on this hole.
This was a good conservative play by Ella. She didn't need to get it under the basket, just needed to get it inbounds.
Love that she had the confidence to pull that disc over. On the forehand side, she was kind of struggling to find that confidence, that line, but really nice shot, dragging it to the right. And if this is that same fairway driver, it might need to take a timeout.
I think so. I'm not exactly sure what's going on there. That is very far off to the right. Anything to the right of the water is out of bounds. It never had a chance. All drives from the tee that are out of bounds go to the drop zone, which is 64 meters, 211 feet from the pin, and it is still a dangerous shot with the water so close behind the basket.
Pretty much has to throw this in. Well, it was a nice shot nonetheless. However, I believe that's going to do it. Now Ella takes a commanding lead in the A pool, getting her second win. That's going to bring her up to 6 points with a very solid point differential. And what a nice preview of this track. I understand why it's your number one. And like I said, I love the different shots the players are forced to throw. I love the risk-reward scenarios presented to them here.
Once again, you've keyed in on one thing that I think is very important. Quite often courses will either be fun or they'll be very challenging, but it's not often that a very challenging hole is also really fun.
Yes, I completely understand that. One that you go to bed thinking about, what am I going to do on it the next day?
I tried. You did. Good playing. Good playing. Good playing. Hey, Jay. 3 and 4. And then this way just too far out.
3 up with 2 to play. Match is over. Yep.
Next match play event is going to be at the Idlewild Open.
Par out the last 2.
We got MPO match play action coming up this afternoon. We're going to take a quick commercial break one last time here on the Disc Golf Network, and on the other side, we're going to break it all down for you in the after show.
Thanks for coming out. We have more staff. Oh, they look done. Look at that. I know.
Hamas needs to get something going.
And in Adam Hamas. Hole in one. Incredible.
I knew Levi before Pound was a company. He wants it to be perfect. And I think he's the kind of guy that nothing's ever perfect. At this point, I don't think anyone's disputing that it's the best bag ever made. It's the most comfortable bag that I've ever worn. The most tough and well-built and long-lasting thing that I'd ever tried on.
Let's send these boys back to the lobby. Get on. Oh, Grandma's got a hot kettle for that teabag.
How did you get so much energy from a candy?
One Shot is no ordinary candy. It only has 4 grams of sugar, and the nootropics help prevent jitters and crash.
Grandma, do you think I could try one of those one-shot energy chews?
Oh, sure, honey. But if you come for the queen, you better come correct, Sprout. I'm the OG. Got it?
Got it.
Level up your energy with One Shot. Grab yours at oneshotenergy.com today.
Welcome to the DGN booth for the brief after show after a blazing fast day of disc golf this morning. Week 4 of match play is over, and a couple dominant performances that we should key in on. almost forgot that Kristen and Kona even played a match this morning. They played in a card by themselves, and Kristen dominated. After the loss last week to Evelina in the final round at PCS, how do you think she's feeling playing so well before the tournament today?
She looked fantastic. I would say that she's in great form to have a wonderful weekend, though she was 11 from 15 from the fairway, which is good, but there is some improvement that can be made there. She was perfect in C1, though.
I think that's the thing that she has keyed in on as being a problem for her this year. And I was listening to her talk earlier in the week about her putting, and she said, you know what, sometimes you have it and sometimes you don't, but it's always me that's in my own way when it comes to that distance. You just have to have confidence and let yourself freely play the game. What would winning the Krokhol Open mean for Kristen going into the next stretch of tournaments?
Well, I think the momentum is valuable. But maybe more than anything else, it quiets the noise outside of herself. I mean, she, more than anybody else, says the right things, and she talks about the fact that it's just her, and she's not trying to live up to other people's expectations. But that has to weigh on her when other people say, oh, it's been 6 in a row, she hasn't won, what's going on? So I think the momentum is valuable.
Well, let's take a quick look at the group standings after this day of match play that just played out. Ella Hansen on the other side takes a commanding win. She's going to be 6 points, 3 points above Allie Smith, who did not get the win today. Holland Hanley now on the board with a solid point differential today, so that brings her up into a tie for second with Allie Smith. Deanne Carey, another loss, and that will keep her in fourth place. One more match for that pool. That's going to be coming up at the Green Mountain Championships. And then now we move to Kristen's pool. Kristen, just in a dominant fashion, plays fantastic, gets the job done. She's up there in first place at 6 points. Silva Saarinen, automatic forfeiture by Jessica Weiss. Unfortunately, get well soon, Jessica. That gives Silva 3 points. And Kona Montgomery, not going to come up with a win today. We just talked about Kristen and what would a win mean for her this weekend. Holland is now in Norway for the first time this year. She's finally back overseas. She is currently top of the standings on the DGPT. What have you seen from her this year, and then what do you expect from her this Europe stretch?
She's having her best season to date. She's averaging 2.5 for positions. And she looked amazing out there. She was 11 for 12 on fairway hits today, and those are some hard fairways to hit at times. Again, conditions were great, and she scored. I would be nervous if I were other competitors in the field right now for Holland, because she's on fire.
Well, just the fact that the two favorites, I would say, Kristen and Holland, had wildly different fairway statistics today. Curious to see how it plays out this weekend. We don't have that many shots to choose from. There's only a handful of groups out there this morning, but OTB shot of the daytime, I'm thinking Kona's medal hit on hole 4. That's my thought.
That's a very good nominee. I'm going to go with Kristen's park job on hole 6.
Then it's obviously going to be that. I don't think I've gotten one right in months. So let's see. I swear, if it's yours and I lose again, no. Oh, no.
But look at how pretty this one is.
Listen, I get it. Beautiful sidearm from Kristen. I'm so glad that I'm not legally allowed to bet on disc golf this season. It'd be bad news bears for me. That is going to do it for this morning's match play here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Tomorrow begins the round 1 coverage for FPO at the Krokhol Open. But stay tuned this afternoon. We have lots to talk about this afternoon. MPO match play coming up. A couple of really important matchups you're not going to want to miss. We'll see you soon.